That brings us to our welterweight main event. As former welterweight champion Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, goes up against Gabriel Bonfim. You got minus 125 on Bilal and plus 105 on Gabriel. Now start off on the Muhammad side of things now, who is on a 2-fight losing streak, which is on the back end of a 10-fight winning streak. That included winning the title against Leon Edwards, but then losing it against Jack Della Maddalena last year, where I really think Bilal shot himself in the foot. Now, if you guys remember leading up to that fight, Bilal, we know he's just not in great standing with the UFC for whatever reason. And maybe they think he's just a little bit too boring. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to shoot takedowns. I'm going to go out there and try to outstrike Maddalena. I'm going to put on an entertaining fight so that I can get in the good graces of the UFC. And that was a horrible idea. And I think he started to realize that probably in the second and third round, which is when he really started to go for his takedowns. But by then, it was too little too late. He was beaten. He was battered. All the confidence was on Maddalena's side. And Maddalena was able to continue to outstrike him and end up winning that fight on the scorecards. Bilal tried bouncing back with the fight against Ian Machado Gary, but I think Gary kind of out game planned him there, specifically by making sure that it was a 3-round fight, as I thought a 5-round fight would definitely favor Bilal. But Gary did a good enough job in those 3 rounds, outstriking Bilal, stopping the takedowns, and really just doing a great job in terms of picking him apart from distance. I believe he bloodied Bilal up within the first minute or two with his slick striking approach. It was fun. It was an educated performance from Gary. But stylistically, I think that was just a bad matchup for Bilal, right? Gary does a great job in terms of game planning for his opponents. We saw it in the Carlos Prates fight, we saw it in the Michael Venom Page fight, and we saw it in the Bilal Muhammad fight, where he just knew if he stayed on his bicycle enough and kept those straight shots down the pipe, he's going to be able to bloody up Bilal and look better for the judges once it ended up hitting the scorecards. What Bilal is great at is setting a high pace, mixing in takedowns, high volume on the feet, relying on his durability, which is something that has often been an issue for him earlier on in his career. It's been 10 years, close to 10 years, since the last time he's been finished, and it's been 7 years since the last time he's been knocked down. So that's something to take into consideration. Gary did sting him with a shot that wobbled Bilal, but Bilal's awareness to stay in the game, continue on his volume and his output and his activity, kind of saved him in those spots to not get finished there by Gary. High volume, high cardio, high pace is often the case with Bilal, and as long as his durability holds up, he always has a chance, especially in 5 rounds, to really break his opponents and try to start rolling downhill in those championship rounds or those main event rounds. Now, he's going up against Gabriel Bonfim, who fumbled the bag big time as a huge favorite against Nicholas Dalby 5 fights ago, in a fight where he was a big favorite, had tremendous success through the first round and a half or so, but it really seemed the resistance and pace that Dalby was putting on him led to Bonfim slowing down tremendously, and eventually Dalby getting that finish at the ending of the second round. That's the only loss on Bonfim's 20-fight UFC or pro MMA record. Since then, he's been able to pull off 4 straight wins. He had that educated performance against Ange Losa. Then he came through with that submission victory over Chaos Williams, which is impressive. Then he had that controversial split decision win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, where he got to his grappling, but Thompson showed much more resistance than people were expecting him to. And then in that third round, we're in a fight that seemed to be 1-1 going to that last round, it seemed 2 of the judges scored the control of Bonfim over the damage that Thompson was able to land. And then last time around, we saw Bonfim have his first UFC main event against Randy Brown. He took his time in that first round. It seemed the calf kick was a big part of his game in that first round, which allowed him to be a little bit more conservative with his striking game and his cardio. And then in the second round, it seemed like he was trying to get back to it a little bit more. But ultimately, it was a knee in the clinch that dropped Randy Brown that led to Gabriel Bonfim getting that win there. I still have question marks about his cardio, right? Especially in fights where he can't dictate the pace. That's where things are going to start to get iffy for him, and that's where we'll start to get answers on whether he's been able to fix that part of his game. To me, almost messed up my microphone there a little bit. To me, that's a part of a fighter's game that's very difficult to fix, especially when they can't dictate the pace of a fight. And in this fight in particular against Bilal Muhammad, I think Bonfim is going to struggle to maintain that. I think we'll see him come out similar to what he did against Randy Brown. I think he's going to be looking for calf kicks right away. I think he's going to be looking to sting Bilal from distance. And I think he's going to be looking for that big shot to put Bilal away. I don't think we're going to see Bonfim looking to grapple. I think he knows that Bilal can scramble well. I think he knows Bilal has good takedown defense. And I don't think that he believes that he can out-grapple Bilal to the point that he can get to a finishing position. If he's able to latch onto the neck, we obviously know that he has a great front choke series, which he could possibly catch Bilal with. But I'd be very surprised if Bilal actually ends up getting caught in something like that. So I think Bonfim is going to have to lean on getting a first or second round stoppage. Otherwise, I think if this reaches the third round, that means that Bilal is able to survive the power of Bonfim and has been successful in terms of implementing his pace, his pressure, and his activity. And I think that's going to significantly show here as Bonfim starts to slow down, leading to Bilal getting a stoppage in round 3, round 4, or round 5. I'm going to lean round 4. I don't think if this reaches round 4 that Bonfim will have the cardio to get out of that round. I think, Bilal, again, not a notorious finisher, but as we saw when he went up against Sean Brady, if he can keep a fighter away from the game and they are known to slow down, he will be able to put up a barrage of shots that can get fighters out of there, and I think he can do that against Bonfim here. Again, early going is going to be tough. The athleticism, the speed, the power of Bonfim, the calf kicks as well will cause Bilal a lot of trouble early, but Bilal has prided himself on his durability. And, based on the statistics that we've seen as of late, he's very hard to put away. He's very hard to put down. And I think Bonfim will struggle to do that once again here. That should lead to Bilal getting a TKO win. I'm going to say round 4.